Welcome back, everybody. We're back at the second of our sort of keynote conversations. Next to me, we have Louise Ertman Baunsgaard. She's the founder of LETZSUSHI. So you have 15 years of entrepreneurial experience from idea to exit with LETZSUSHI, and now you engage small businesses with the aim to create value for others, not just more capital, right? So you took an idea all the way from the beginning to an exit, and then you moved on with the next stage of your career. So I hope you can all welcome her today. I'd like to go back to that beginning of that journey, because I think journeys is a large part of why we're here today, right? So, and from what I understand, you were doing IT, you were doing sales and marketing in an IT firm, if that's right. So why did you give it all up and decide to start Denmark's first ever sushi chain?
Denmark's first ever sushi chain.
Isn't that right?
Okay. Yeah. Well,
it?
Sticks and Sushi also is also a chain, but yes, at that point there were no chains, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, why did I give it all up? I guess I had a good job. To be honest, I had a good jobs in IT. I had my apartment in the center of Copenhagen. I had a car. I had everything, some would say, but I was bored. And I guess that's the story. I went away for leave. I was able to take for 2 months and went to Australia, and I traveled around and ended up in Sydney, and they just had so much sushi, different sushi bars, and it was so inexpensive compared to what I was used to, and it was so experimental. They put all kinds of stuff into the rolls, even stuff that was on the greasy side, like egg salad, chicken, but it was so exciting. I was like, wow. And before I left, I loved sushi, but it was very expensive. I didn't eat it that often, but I did make it at home, but never with all these ingredients. So it got me thinking, this is it, this is what I'm gonna do. Yeah. So that's where the idea started. Then I came back to work, went to work every day, sat around thinking how to start this. And I went to a course, entrepreneurial course, once a week for 8 weeks. And this was actually where it really started, I think, because I knew I was going to do this, but I had no clue how to, because I had never been in the restaurant business before, never been a waiter, never been in the kitchen. I didn't know anything. But at this meeting or this course, I met people that also had an idea. It was fantastic. This was the first time where I felt, wow, this is it. I'm an entrepreneur. I want to do this. And I didn't care much. So this is where it started. And then I didn't quit my job. I was fired. We were, many of us were. It was an IT company. It was a big American one. They were not doing too great. And they let me off and gave me half a year of salary. So I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
And there was no turning back.
I mean, so that's interesting. You went into this course, and then suddenly you're around other people that had the same sort of passion. But let's say outside of that room, when you're going around and telling your friends, I was brought up in Copenhagen. I remember the food scene, 20 years ago. It was not very interesting, right? There was no Kulbun, and there weren't fantastic restaurants everywhere. So what was the reaction that people gave to you when you said, I'm going to start a sushi restaurant?
Yeah, they were like, stick to IT. There's a lot of money in IT. Restaurants are, and sushi, don't go there, because it's never going to be a hit.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's always going to eat pizza, but sushi, no way. At that time, we had 12 restaurants in Copenhagen, sushi restaurants.
So Denmark. So in Copenhagen, there were 12 sushi restaurants in total?
Yes.
Right. And how many are there now?
I don't know, 200, 300.
That's incredible.
Loads. Yeah.
Okay.
So and that was it. There was just no turning back. I don't know. I didn't care, really. I didn't care what anybody said, because I just wanted to try this out.
Yeah.
And this was when I started networking, because I had no idea of how to do it. So I just met people at that course, met people around me saying, I want to do this, and all of a sudden it led me to one or the other, and then I met a chef.
Yeah.
Sushi chef, and I was like telling him about my new concept, because I wanted to do this in a different way. I was very keen on being a concept that I could take to many branches, and that it needed to be Well, it needed to be done in a way that I could earn money. So it wasn't just, the big menu card. I tried to shape everything so that I could make money and no spill. Because I understood that spill was bad.
Yeah.
And then I met this guy and he was like, I'm in.
Fantastic.
I was like, okay, but just a minute.
Yeah. So then you're starting to build it. So obviously now you have this opportunity to shape this business the way that you want to shape it. In what way was sort of social responsibility or sort of not just the bottom line a part of this? So on the one hand, you're talking about making sure you're minimizing your losses, minimizing waste, to maximize your profits on that one side. But then were there other ideas that you wanted to bring in? What sort of change did you want to make with LETZSUSHI?
Well, actually, at that point, I was more keen on using the same ingredients in many ways. We were not really talking organic,
yeah.
sorry, yes. And we were not talking sustainability. It wasn't big at that time, but I was very keen on, not having too much spill, not having any at all. And then I wanted to build a culture where you wanted to go to work, where we were kind of a family. I understood early on my journey that there is a lot of difference of being a waiter or a chef, and they were not really communicating that well. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I was like, we're going to break that down. We're all in this together, and this, our goal is to create a nice place to be and a nice place for the customers, and of course some good food.
Yeah. I mean, how did you break that down? Because I think restaurant culture has a very strong culture, right? Like we all know, we see loads of movies of, chefs shouting at the sous chefs and all the rest. How can you come in, a complete newcomer
But remember,
to this field?
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I had no background, only from what I knew, which was IT. And at that time, it was doing very well, and there was this and this at work, and, the culture was nice. So this was what I came from. I never experienced anything else. So I just guess I did it my way.
So I guess that's an advantage of sometimes being a complete outsider, right? You're not sort of burdened with the way that things have been done before. So you came in and you said, okay, we're going to do it this way. Yeah. So you opened your first restaurant in 2003 and you exited, when was it, 2015 or
17.
2017. So over those years, I mean, what was the sort of the main, did you have some sort of main learnings along the way, some sort of major dials that you shifted as the business started to grow, some major aha moments that you had about how this business was going to succeed? Some major errors, maybe something that you sort of had to tighten up, or was this philosophy of a great workplace with very little waste to the sort of the driving force all the way through?
And always keeping up with new things, trying to put new things into sushi, using strawberries, kiwis, fruits and vegetables and Japanese things in the food. But mostly it was, building a nice workplace, having, and then of course I was all running fast, opening another one, and having 3 kids on the way. So that was, I guess, more.
Okay, but so you built this company, starting a family at the same time. I think that traditionally, I don't think we hear very often about that. I mean, how are you able to be driving this business forward when most people think you'd have to work all day, all night, and on the weekends? How did it work?
I guess I was very from the beginning. I was very keen on having my private life and then having my work life, and I tried not to interfere too much with that. And yes, I know there's a saying, you work around the clock. Of course, I did in the beginning, and then many years in the beginning, but I think it's all about working a bit smarter.
Okay.
I when having kids and small kids, I often only had 2-3 hours of work per day, but I was the most efficient person in the world, I would say, because I knew that it had an end. In 3 hours I had to be back, or the nurse or my mother didn't walk with the kids anymore, or I don't know. Yeah. But it was all planning. I think somebody else said it as well. Planning.
Yeah, I mean, in English you say if you want to get a job done, give it to a busy person, right? So sort of when you have as you say, a baukent in Danish, right? Yeah. When you have a sort of a time that you've got to be done, you get things done before then, right?
But it doesn't, still I was on call around the clock, of course. We were open every single day except 3 days a year. And the first people started 8 o'clock in the morning. The last ones left around 12 o'clock. So it was, of course it was. I was on call all the time.
Okay.
And of course there were loads of things. Now you said, what did I learn along the way? Well, to make fast decisions. Because sometimes you just got to make fast decisions and move on.
Yeah.
Or
so what if you make a mistake? What if you make a fast decision? I think a lot of people agonize over decisions because they think, oh, if I get it wrong, people are going to hate me for it.
Well, again, it's restaurant business. You got to make decisions all the time. It's not like it's not a strategy over 5 years. It's like what you do tomorrow or next week or in a month. Yeah. So, and of course, I made mistakes, many. Yeah. But then again, as long as it's more like I don't know, an economic mistake. Who cares?
Yeah. So you exited in 2017. You kind of said, okay, this is my baby. I think that you sold some of it to, was it Don Don? And then you got completely out in 2017.
Yes.
Why do that? Why give up something that you spent so many years building, something that was such a success? And what was the thinking? What was happening there?
Well, I had a few years where I was. I wanted to do something else. And I did try, because the last year we had a CEO, so I was just in the board and I could do anything on the side, but I couldn't kind of move on. It was still, I was LETZSUSHI somehow, even though I really wanted to try something else. So I think I needed to do this clean cut. And then it was all about money as well. We had this big plan for the business to grow. And I had my partner, which I sold half of the company to. And so we were going to bring some money to the table to make this, to execute this plan. And I was not willing to. I just had a feeling that this was it. I would rather quit, start something else.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what is this something else? Because I understand now you use a lot of time and energy working with other people, right?
Yes.
Tell us about what it is that you do now and what is it that motivates you to do this?
Well, mostly I do what my mentor, at that time I had a mentor from what you today call Copenhagen Business Hub. But I had a mentor way back from that course, entrepreneurial course. The mentor helped me all along. Every time I had questions or things I wanted to talk to somebody about, I called him up. He didn't know much about stuff, but just talking just kind of helped me. So this is what I do, and I try to help others with their businesses. I did invest in some businesses and do try to help them along the way. Mostly it's networking and listening and coaching, you would say. Sometimes when you just get yourself talking, you kind of come up with the good ideas, right? So they talk to me or we talk and try to move on and help people make a strategy, try to plan, so you don't work 80 hours a week, but you try to plan it smarter.
So so people will come to you now, I suppose. Do they get in touch with you to your website? And you probably have your choice of people to work with. I mean, what are you looking for, the qualities of somebody that you're like, okay, you've got the sort of qualities that I want to. I mean, do you take in somebody who's like, I want to buy up all the oil companies and make billions of dollars and pollute the world? Or does it matter what they're working in, or is it about their personality? What is it that you look for in people to work
mostly,
with?
Of course, it's the idea. And yes, I would like it to be a sustainable or, if I'm impact investment, definitely. If I'm going to put money into it, I don't want to join the oil companies. But then I look at the person or the team, definitely. Do they have the drive and can they manage? Also, work-life balance is very important because otherwise you might be stressed in a year, and so who's going to drive that company?
I mean, do you see some common mistakes that people come to you with? So you must have worked with many people now. So what is, you probably have some warning lamps, right? So what are these warning lamps?
Well, first of all, I always ask people, what's your why?
Right. Yeah.
Why do you do this? What is it? What is it that drives you? What gets you up in the morning? And if they can't tell me very shortly what it is, or if it's not a why that kind of stands out, then I ask them to go home and find out what it is. Yeah. And it really comes back to you, because it is you and your idea or your team's idea. And why do you do this? And if you can't feel this, I'm afraid it's not going to be a successful business. And it can be such a little thing. The why doesn't have to be changing the world. It can be like a small thing that you will differ. Now I work a lot with restaurants and also products, and I'm like, you have so many restaurants, right? You have so many products, new products. So what's your why? Why is people gonna buy this?
So how do people find their why? Do you think that everybody has one?
No. I don't think everybody has one in the business.
Yeah.
They might have a why, but I have some. Often I give them some tests. I'm kind of had somebody help me figure out, because it goes back to really looking into yourself. How do you react in these situations, and what is your why?
Yeah. What if somebody's why is just like making a lot of money? Or I want to be successful. I mean, do you think that's
but that's your personal why? But I want a why for your business. That wouldn't be just making money.
Don't you think that sometimes people can mix those two things up? They think, okay, I need the success, therefore I'm gonna. Sure. So do you see that? Do you see that happening?
And then I also see people being very keen on having investments right away. I just need money, and then I'm gonna grow. Blah blah blah. Am I like, let's try bootstrapping? I never had any investments, and your business is worth so much more if you have it a bit further, right? If you can show some numbers, and then we can start talking investments.
Yeah. So if you could think about like one big mistake that you made when you were starting up LETZSUSHI that you could share with us. Maybe you don't want to share all of your big mistakes. What do you have any sort of things that you really regret doing that you wish you would have done differently when you were starting up the company?
No.
You did it right.
No, I don't really go back and look at mistakes. I've made 1,000, I'm sure, but I don't have a big one.
No.
I think, but what I wanted to say is that the good thing is, and I can see that now, is this networking part of my life, which I've always done on the side. Even though I was busy, even though I still kept networking. I kept being in some women's network, whatever, mixed networks. And I would say, go out there. Talk about your idea. And
so we've heard that a lot. We heard that from Lisa Lotta. We heard it with the young with the no, but it's fantastic. It seems to be sort of building into a thread here, which is about that it's not a zero-sum game. That that you're going to find inspiration by talking to people. You can create more. That's right. Sort of you being a part of something bigger. Is that right?
Yeah. But networking can be a lot of things. It can be going through your LinkedIn every day, spending an hour, seeing what people talk about. Bring in your comments. It can be a lot of things. Yeah. Just be out there.
Okay. And if it wasn't just what about keeping sort of up to date with? We had a futurist, Lisa Lotta Lundstedt. We had her on the stage earlier before. Did you get out of sushi because you thought, okay, there's no future in this, or is it because really like it was just the end of it, or was there at all a thought about that?
I think. There's still a business in sushi, definitely. But it was I just wanted to try something. It was me personally. Everybody was like, it's your identity. I was like, no, I hope not.
So so if you were to give some advice to people to find their why, to start, your why, you went to Australia, you saw sushi, and you thought, we've got 1 minute left, right? So we just. Yeah. How do people get in that mindset of starting to listen to something that could be their why or something bigger to them? Is it just about being open and starting to sort of see?
Try to have a mentor, or I guess everybody can find a mentor. It could be somebody in your family. Call it a mentor, call it a coach, whatever. But this, having somebody asking you some questions and you telling what you believe in or how your idea is going to be. And this was also what I experienced in this course way back, Entrepreneurial, that I said my idea out loud was very important. So everybody came back at me saying, what about this? What about this?
Yeah. I mean, I think that was really interesting, right? That you kind of had on the one hand this community of people who all like, we've all got great ideas, and suddenly like, you know what, actually I can do this. Yeah. And then outside people are like, okay, you're crazy. Yeah. But you'd found people that actually supported you, right? So it seems like a lot of your message has to do with finding people that support you, finding people that can help you, that you can bounce ideas off of, and sort of going that way, the social aspect, right? So I think That's pretty much it. I mean, I think that we sort of reaching the last of the 20 seconds here. A really positive message, I think, about the power of networks and the power of people to sort of drive your purpose forward and find yourself. I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. We're gonna be back in about 5 minutes with the next fireside chat. So see you all then.